mix up some fabric paint and we are going to paint it. Oh, fudge sickles. Did I just do that? Yeah, I just did that. 1 second. All the effort that we went through. Haha. There we go. So we'll put this through at the bottom instead of the top. That way we don't accidentally yank this back into the things again. Actually, I'm also going to take our lovely little endlings here and there we go. 1, flip 2, scooch it on in. There we go. Now we're going to turn this over and put it onto our cardboard box, which actually contains my seed collection, and I probably shouldn't be doing this, but what the fudge ever. Okay. We're going to smooth the fabric out on top here as much as humanly possible. Hi, Duncan. You coming in, bud? Oh, you're just sniffing. Okay. You sniff away, mister. Alrighty. That's done. Next, I am going to show you 2 different methods to mix the fabric paint. One is you can actually just get fabric medium to mix your acrylic paint with, and 2, you can actually use fabric softener. I don't really know which is cheaper, but I buy a lot of these for when I'm doing it's yeah. Alrighty, I should grab some color. There we go. I'll make sure that we have some choices here. There is always more paint all up in here. There's never a shortage of paint in the art room. Actually, I really need to reorganize my paint. It's getting a little bit all over the place. I just feel like crafting today. I just dropped some paint. Hello. What does it say? Can you? No, thank you. Okay, what's that say? Hello. No, I like to make more detailed art. I don't think that is possible to do it with like that. Anyway. So, first things first, I actually rinsed out some of my vitamin shot bottles to do this in. So, because I'm most likely going to need an abundance of at least 1 shade of green, I'm going to start off with the fabric softener method. Oh, this is a big opening pouring into a very little opening, and I'm not sure if... There we go. I'm going to pretend that that didn't just make me extremely nervous to do. Okay, so we're going to have an overabundance of grasshopper green. Wait for it to float down. Add a little bit more. It's hard to see the measurements with the label still on it. 1 second. This is what I get for wanting to reduce, reuse, recycle. There we go. Now I can see. So it should be 2 parts softener to 1 part paint. And you should be able to measure this with your eyes, so about 1/3 paint to 2/3 fabric softener. And then you shake the absolute fudge sickles out of it. See? There we go. Oh my gosh, that's such a pretty. That's so pretty. Okay. Now next, actually gonna pour a little bit onto this Cool Whip lid because this shit stains the fuck out of all of my palettes. Okay. We shall get a medium-sized brush. And I want one that has a nice thick bristle because it'll hold the paint really good. Now we come down here the whole way at our hem. We make sure that we get the paint soaked really, really well into the brush for fabric painting. We slowly soak it the whole way up with the fabric. Now, because we're going to be making a cute little flower stem, we're going to add some curvature as we pull it upwards. Now, after we get the cute little curves that we want into the flower stem, we're going to add some little bumps for leaves to come out of. So about here, where the curve starts to peak but not quite. And then we're going to drag where the bump starts back down the stem. Okay, and about right here. Oh, I should probably make it so that y'all can see. There we go. Here we are. And drag that the whole way back down with the curves of the stem that you just started. And the same for right here. And this is actually going to make the stem look like the flower is naturally thickening as the in the stem as the leaves grow out. the way that an actual flower naturally would typically thicken at the base of the plant. Now we're going to take this the whole way down to the bottom of the hem that we did in the last live stream where we started the skirt. And we're going to widen it just a teensy weensy tiny bit. Okay, and from here we're going to come back up here to where we started that next bump for the leaf, and we're going to start trailing our way back up again. Okay. So I've gotten that started. I have shown you the fabric softener method, how to mix it, how to start using it, and now I'm going to show you the second one, which is your typical Crafters acrylic fabric medium. This is a brand new bottle. I was basically out when I started making the skirt, and should be expensive. There we go. So first we're going to shake the fudge out of this one. We are going to make sure that the little aluminum palette that we're going to use for it is nice and clean. So we're going to wipe this out with some damp tissue just to make sure. We don't want any dust or debris or anything of any kind in our fabric medium or in our paint, because it's going to make our beautiful skirt that we are painting look grody. So we're going to wipe this out, make sure that it's all nice and clean, just in case. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter how clean it looks. You want to re-sanitize all of your stuff. There we go. I don't even know why I always do that. That's just, it's something to make sure. It doesn't matter how clean it looks. You always want to make sure that you re-sanitize all of your equipment before you start using it, even if it's just like hot water on tissue paper wipe down. Okay, so next, let's see here. What shade do I want? I don't want to do citrus green. I could do sap green. Yeah, let's go with sap. Now, for the fabric medium, you actually need a lot less paint than... Look, it's just a little... Let's see if I can angle this better. It's like a little dot of green compared to a bunch of the fabric medium. And generally, you just mix this with a brush, usually whatever you're going to use, because you want it to soak into the brush really, really well. So I'll use this one. Yeah, because I'm going to use it to like build little leafies, and yeah, we'll use this one. And we are going to be rinsing out all of our brushes and such as we go. It's just, I do want to use different brushes for different shades of colors and such, just to make it easier on my brain. We're still mixing. My arthritis never likes using the fabric medium, but oh well. I wanted to show, yes. Because I'm weird. Anyways. And then it usually looks like that, and it typically darkens up as you layer it in, the same as, well, most other paints. So, most other fabric paints. So for this, we're actually going to do little streaks down the stem. Oh, it's not fully dried enough yet. No, we'll wait for that. And we'll actually do the outlines of the leaves first. Why am I reaching over there to get the paint? I'm so used to using my easel. It's not right. Why did I... Cassie, you're an idiot. Where am I from? Nova Scotia. That's why I sound like I'm Minnesotan. Or at least I've been accused of such things. I am from southern Nova Scotia. Drive around for 14 hours, you'll find absolutely everyone. I shouldn't say that. It's a cute little province in Canada. It has a very low it doesn't have a very big population though, so quite literally, if you drive around for long enough, you will find literally everyone. Now, this is my personal artistic method where I don't really have anything that I have a base to start from other than just a picture inside of my brain. I don't even sketch anything out anymore. I used to when I was younger, but nowadays it just kind of pops out of the head and onto whatever I'm painting on. Alright, so slowly but surely we get the outlines of our cute little leaves. Put onto our, well, canvas, I guess. It's a skirt, but we're going to call it a canvas for today because our canvas is our skirt. There we go. That is the first half of the leaf outline done. I should get this a little bit closer if I can. I'm just going to move all of my painting stuff out of the way. Yeah. Good enough. As long as it's visible, right? Now we're going to get started on the second half. So we're going to come down just a little bit lower than the base from the first side. And it's actually going to come out a tiny bit further. And we're going to do the same thing. And we're also going to do a little bit at the top here and work our way down so that we can make sure that we make it fully even. because we want the entire thing to line up with the leaf stem, right? So instead of just getting one side of this ready at a time from top to bottom or from bottom to top, we're going to do both and meet in the middle, specifically to make sure that everything matches up with the way that the stem inside of the leaf is curving. Hello. I'm probably going to slaughter the way that this is pronounced. Song Sofeng. I got that completely wrong. There we go. Now we have all of that done, and we're going to make little spikelets on our leaf. There we are. And over here now. Pull it up from the start of the leaf stem that we did while we were building the stem for our rose here. And we are going to put in thorns later, but we're going to put those in a nice light brown. There we are. First half done. Now I'm going to turn this for the second half because I don't want to soak my sleeve in paint. Which I do that quite often. Just gonna stick that in there for the time being. So we actually want that to soak up all of that nice, slightly darker green. And start from, oh, fudgesicles. Well, I'm gonna have to turn those into something. I pulled a stupid. Hi, Aunt Gina. How are you doing? It's going pretty good. I like to think that I'm crafty. And we're gonna pull this back down. I should put this over here so that that doesn't happen again and lean that up. Yeah. I'll figure something out to do with those. There we go. And we're going to keep going on the leaf. A smudge is going to have to become something. I can make it a part of this, actually. Aha. We'll make this a slightly bigger leaf. And I'll darken it in a little while. There we go. Add a little bit more stem. And that spot's rescued. Now to get the other side done. Oh, fudgesicles. Okay. Set this aside for now. Mirror you. Aha. I like to think I am too. Don't worry, everybody knows you're crafty, Aunt Gina. There we go. And if my tennis elbow wasn't acting up, I would be showing everybody how good at shit ambidextrous people are. I don't even know why it's called tennis elbow. I got it from landscaping. By the way, if anybody wants to know, this live stream is sponsored by my garden care business, Perry Petals Lawn and Garden. If anybody needs a landscaper, let me know. You can contact me on Instagram or wherever. I'm pretty sure that I have an email address attached to the YouTube channel in the description too. Okay, now we can get our cute little streaklets started going up the stem. Now, we never want to do one streak the whole way up. We want to do it... Oh, lovely. I hear sirens. In like little spots around the stem, not branching from the exact same area the whole way over it. You know what I mean? There we go. And it's finally starting to come together a little bit. After this part, we get started on the flower, which is the flowers. The flower for this part, which is going to require a lot of different shades of pink and red. Or what color should I make the flower? There we are. Yellow? Okay. I'll see what I have for shades of yellow. Aha, there we go. Now the next one. We simply just shade in all of the spots that are still fabric colored with our slightly darker green. As well as adding little streaks and such where we had our smudge earlier. There we go. See, if you have the duals, it's actually quite easy to do fabric painting. And all that you really need is either fabric softener or, like I say, acrylic fabric medium, but it's a lot easier to just get fabric softener to make it feel like the sun is shining all the time. That would be lovely. So, like I say, all that you need is just a little bit of fabric softener, some acrylic paint, whatever you have for fabric, or whatever you want, like a plain t-shirt, a cardboard box, something to mix it in, and you're good to go. Some paintbrushes. And somebody who is artistically inclined if you are not. But you will get better with time if you try and practice. I promise you. Okay. I don't like. Yeah, we're gonna add a little bit more of the lighter grasshopper green in here. Just because I don't like the shape of that spot. There we go. Good morning. How are you today? Well, here it's like, yeah, it's still morning. It's 11 o'clock, but still morning. Oh my land. So I woke up so bloody well early this morning, like ass crack of sunrise, and I genuinely forgot what day it was for a little while, and I thought that it was not Sunday, and it was in fact Monday, and I started getting racing around to get ready to go to work, thinking that no, I make my schedule. You would think that I know when I have to work. It's Sunday, not Monday. Like tomorrow, I have to be up bright and early and out the door. Why am I mixing up the actual date itself and not realizing what I'm not getting into it? I used to do that so often when I worked retail too. Like I would genuinely get up, get ready for work, uniform on, everything prim proper, ready to go, and realize, oh shit, it's my day off. Uh, I'll never understand it. I was up at 5 a.m. and I was awake lots last night because it was thundering like crazy and my dog hates the thunder. That's no fun. I'm in Ottawa. It's 11 here. For some reason, the city smells like used fry oil. Ooh, fryer oil? I don't know. Sometimes that can smell good, but a lot of the time it smells nasty, depending on how old the used fryer oil is. Like, you ever open up a compost bin and like there's a bin of fryer oil in there, and all of a sudden you're sitting there like, "Ugh." Yeah. And my puppers don't really have an issue with the thunder and stuff. They're usually pretty good about that kind of thing. Okay. So we're going to drag this right over and upward and make another stem base for the rest of the plant to come out of that spans over this way. Because this here is going to be the base of our first rose on the bush. So we're first going to start painting in the rose hip, which is, believe it or not, the easy part. The difficult part is going to be getting all of the yellows layered over top of that, because I am a layer-based artist. Okay, now that that is started, here we go. Fudge sickles. I'm getting fabric paint everywhere. My whole office is going to be stained all to shit. Let's wipe that up really quick. Alrighty. Yeah, because we're going to keep building up so that we can fix those smudges that we made. We're going to make this rose a bit bigger than we planned. And I'm going to actually scooch the fabric over a little bit, rotate it around the box here, specifically so that we can get started on building another base. Because look at this monstrosity that I had created. So we're going to do this now. We're going to scooch that over just a little bit. There we go, about right there. We're going to set this back up, and we're going to create a new base for the bottom of our rose bush. So it'll have two bases. Or I guess one base with two stems. And this one, where it's going to be leaning over some, we're going to have to drag a bit more down from the leaf startlings than typical, because it's going to be both taller and leaned over some. So the base is going to be a little bit big, especially where it's going to be connecting to the side of the other base. There we go. Keep dragging the fabric paint upwards. And like I say, this is going to take some time to perfect and master. The only reason that I am as okay at it as I am, and I'm not even saying I'm good at it, I'm okay at it, is because I've been doing this since I was like 12 or 13. So I wouldn't even say that I'm a professional, I'm just well practiced. Alright, drag it upward. Now the paint is going to like fully soak into the fabric as you're painting. Don't worry about that. That's why we have the cardboard box under there so that it doesn't get all over the place everywhere. Cardboard is extremely absorbent. I actually use cardboard as a way to dry out my homegrown herbs and stuff. So like peppermint, oregano, anything like that, you can just use shuck it into a cardboard box and it'll be dried out within 2 days. It's grand. Hmm. I feel like, yeah. I'm gonna turn this into a whole ass rose bush. Nessa's snoring underneath of me. It's so cute. There we go. There we go, and we keep dragging the paint the whole way back down the stem from where we just added on. And as we drag it downward, the stem will thicken and it will slowly but surely start to look more natural as we go. There we go. And it's just a game of continually dragging the paint to soak it into the fabric a little bit thicker and add a little bit of wideness to your stem at a time. Just a little bitty millimeter at once. I really wish that this paintbrush would stop falling. You know what? I'm just going to set it sideways up there. Now, I'm going to need quite a bit of yellow. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our other Vitamin Shot bottle that I rinsed out specifically for this. I always feel the need to reduce, reuse, recycle everything. There we go. Pull off the side of the label so that I can actually see the whole way down it. Now we are once again going to play scientist for a second and pour some of this into that so that we can pour some of that into this. And yeah, mix up some yellow fabric paint. Oh, I almost had a spill. Okay, that should be about all that we need for that. So the measurement for that goes up to there. And when we add in the yellow, you're actually going to be able to see that in the through the yeah. Let's see here. I'll use this one. Or I should probably use a darker yellow as the base. 1 second. It's a little bit creamy light. Let's see here. That's really creamy light. You know what? I'll go with this one. Okay. I'll go with this one. Oh, this one's thick. Right. This is the one that I got for specifically Micmac style painting. Okay. Yeah, that should be. It went up about a third. Yeah. Ugh, this is going to be really, that's a lot of pigment. I don't know. You know what? It's fine. Needs to be a little bit clearish. Not sure. I'll add a little bit more. Because that paint is thicker than typical and it has a lot more pigment, we're actually going to add a little bit more fabric softener than normal. Like, that paint was far more pigment than thinner, which is typically a good thing, except for when you're fabric painting. So, yeah. Look at that shade of yellow. Honestly, I could just kind of, probably, yeah. There we go. Got that started. Now I'm actually going to clean this one off to use this to get our rose started. Okay. I'm going to paint this from a very specific angle. That way we can still at least kind of see all of the detail that we put into our roses. So we're going to continually drag all of the paint for the petals up and down before we get it all nice and neatly separated by shade. And add in all of the extra detail. Now, I'm not saying that this is the right way to do it, but I am saying that this is the way that I figured out how to do it because I started doing it when I was really, really young. This is the way that works for me. And I never had anybody to actually teach me, so I kind of taught myself. This is the way that works for a novice that doesn't have anybody to help them. Okay, now we are going to mix a separate shade of yellow, a slightly lighter one. As per usual, we are going to clean out our paint container just in case. We don't want any dust, debris, dog hair, or anything in that. I do have 2 dogs, so that is quite a possibility. And we're going to dry it out with our paint towel. Now we are going to find the one that we already have open because I'm an idiot and I set all there it is. I set all 3 of them together at once. Pour in the fabric medium. It's a good thing I have more than one basically empty tube of this. This is the thing about acrylic paint. It's fudging annoying sometimes when it's in tubes. Get off of there. There we go. I'm gonna toss that. It's basically empty now. Aha. There you are, my friend. Another one. And we're gonna mix this all up. Man, why is the pigment so thick for all of my yellow paint? Do I use that little yellow paint that the pigment just thickens out and all the moisture slowly leaving it? Is that what's happening here? We're mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing. Do 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 do. It takes so long to mix the fabric medium in this way. So basically, we just have to continually mix the fabric medium into our, well, slightly over thickened yellow paint because until all of the little tiny clumps are gone and it's nice and smooth. Like, there's no liquid anymore. What the fudge? Okay, 1 second. Yeah, that's a bit better. Now, we're going to add little bits of light yellow along the edges of where we want our petals and up the sides. That is going to add some depth. Now, the trick here is apparently going to be making sure that we slather it on lightly enough because, yeah, all of my yellow pigments are so bloody thick that this is actually going to be a little bit of a challenge. But we all know how much I love a good challenge. First things first, though. There's a reason my paint towel exists. Here we are. Okay. Starting to come to life a little bit. Now we get to continually layer in our light and dark yellows. As we go. See what I mean about the difficult part isn't painting the rose hips, it's getting the yellow layered over top of it perfectly so that it doesn't. Yeah. But that's okay. We have got this. Woohoo. Now I know that it doesn't look very much like a rose right now, but it will when we're finished. Hey, honey. Pretty good, I think. Nobody's watching anyway, so pretty good. What are you up to? None much. How's your noggin feeling?
Same.
I'm sorry. Okay, we'll set this here aside. Set that in there for now. And we're actually going to get started on some leafleting here. Again, while we wait for the starting yellow for our rose to dry a little bit, because fabric painting is not quite the same as canvas painting. You have to let it dry and soak into the fabric a little bit. Otherwise, you're just going to be mixing wet mud together. You don't see any of the shading or anything come out. It's all something. So you do with fabric painting have to let it dry out just a little bit. It's not, like I say, it's not the same as canvas painting. This is a completely different kind of craft. But I'm also, as I say, not an expert. I've just been doing it since I was a little kid, and I didn't have anybody, like, I've been doing this since I was 12 or 13 years old. I didn't have anybody to teach me. I just kind of learned how to do it on my own, and this is the method that I figured out worked the best for me. There we go. And we're going to come over here and do some more of the outlining for our leaves for the rose bush. Funny thing is, for as bad as I am at doing this, I've actually gotten a little bit better at it than I was when I started. Practice makes perfect. However, I will never consider myself perfect at doing this one. This is one hobby I have that I will never be perfect at. It's getting dark in here for some reason. I should turn the light on. One moment. There we are. There we go. to the corners and building up the leaves. There we are. We're almost finished with this one. And then we can get back to putting in, let's feel here. Yeah, we can start a little bit on adding some more layers of different shades and texture into the yellow rose here shortly. It's starting to dry a little bit. There we go. Gonna start a rose hip there. And we'll drag the stem up from there over here. Yeah, we have 2 leaflets to start. Okay, so while we're doing the leaves, we're basically just coming up from the stem that we got put in originally for it. And then we're coming down from that little line that we started to a little bit before the tip of the last line that we made. So then we're going to do that again. You see how I made it just a little bit shorter and brought it inward some? Up and down. Bring it up and down. Up and out and down. It's not very difficult, it's just very teeny tiny and monotonous. And I'm sure that absolutely everybody can do this better than I can. I enjoy doing it. Therefore, I'm going to keep doing it. So, yeah. There we go. And that is another one filled in there. And this here was also supposed to be a little leafy. I'm on a roll with the leaves now, man. It's just a cute little technique. You take it and pull it down. Or you just do it the exact opposite way. You come over here with a little bit of extra paint and you pull it up. It's one way or the other. There's only two ways to do it. Either way, as long as the ends of your little leaf spikes start narrowing the whole way up to the tip of your leaf, it doesn't matter. And the best part about painting plants is nothing has to be exact. Nothing has to be perfect. You don't need to make straight lines or perfect leaves. Nothing has to be extravagant. The most beautiful thing about plants is the fact, and painting plants, is the fact that they are perfectly imperfect. I think that the plant world understands things a bit better than people do sometimes. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but something about just sitting and painting for an afternoon is so relaxing. It makes everything go away, and all that you can think about is how you're going to blend everything together and stitch together all of the lines and colors to make it a beautiful masterpiece. And a lot of the time, you're not even making a masterpiece. You just think it's a masterpiece because you made it. Hmm. When I was a little kid, my great nan used to paint on fabric all the time, and she made these gorgeous, magnificent masterpieces. She never actually taught me how to do it, but I used to watch her constantly, and I absolutely loved watching her and seeing all of the things that she would pop out with just from her imagination. Straight out of nowhere. Hmm. Brady. Now we get to take a little bit of this slightly darker yellow and kind of pull it upward around the edges to layer it in. In the exact way that you think of a plant's petals spreading out. There we are. And it slowly starts to come together. Okay. Now Now, do you see what I mean about moving your brush strokes in the way that you believe that the petal would grow? Think about the shapes and lines and details that are hidden within a flower petal. Okay. Okay. Now, we're going to add in the top of each outer petal. Here. Haha. There we go. Now we have a slightly thicker paint base to add the lighter fabric paint onto shortly. And we're now going to take our slightly darker green to fill in and refill some of this leafing. And as I say, this is going to be a piece of layer art. That is how I do the fabric paintings for just about all of the pieces that I make when I'm doing fabric paintings. So, this is going to be continually layer after layer after layer after layer of each color until the piece comes out perfect. There we go. And stop right there at the edge of. There we go. Now I just need the teensiest, weенsiest, tiniest little droplets to do right here and here. There we go. Mm-hmm. There we are. And we'll do some basic bush stem streaking here shortly. But right now, I'm kind of having fun doing the leaf fill-ins. And my brain doesn't want to leaf the leaves. Now, if so far you are enjoying learning how to to get ready and utilize fabric paints and learning how to paint on fabric, please hit the like button and subscribe. If not, Okay then. It was nice to have you here. I feel like I'm forgetting something and I'm not sure what it is. Oh, thank you, Aunt Gina. How long will it take for it to dry? It's drying as I'm working with it. Where the fabric softener's in there, it's drying a lot faster than it normally would. The rose, it'll probably take about 15 to 20 minutes for me to be able to keep working on it. But I have other spots that I can get started on other flowers in, so it kind of soaks into the fabric and dries as you're working with it, which is definitely a good thing because otherwise I'd just be mixing a bunch of wet colored mud and turning it into one shade. It takes a lot of paint to actually do this because of how well it soaks into the fabric while you're working. If it was like a gel fabric paint, it would probably take like an hour to even be able to keep going. But where I made it with acrylic and fabric softener or with acrylic and art medium, depending on which shade I'm using right now, it usually dries pretty quickly. Now, for parts of the shading for the rose, I think I'm actually going to mix together a little bit of a greenish yellow to shade in the creases where I want the petals to stand out a little bit better. Should take like the tiniest drop of green and a fudge ton of yellow. Yeah, let's turn it this way a little bit. Make it just a tiny bit easier for me to reach it. There we go. Now we have a bunch of yellow laid down. We're going to grab the teeniest, tiniest drop of green and mix that in for the... Yeah, that's actually going to be perfect for the background shade. See, all that it's really doing is just darkening up the yellow a little bit so that we can see the two lighter shades over top of it better. It also catches the eye just a teeny tiny bit because the human eye can detect so many different shades of green at a time so easily that it just kind of makes the little tiny rosebudlet catch the eye underneath of all of the bright yellows that we're going to put on top of there. What you doing, bunny? So we'll let that set to dry. And then we're going to take... How's this doing? That's still quite moist. So we're not going to work with that quite yet. What we're going to do is utilize the rest of our grasshopper green here. To create some more leaflets so that we're not wasting it. And if we need more, we still have a bunch more. Which we are going to need more. because we are going to go over top of some of the light greens in the leaves as well again. Like I say, doing fabric painting is a layer game. It's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of very tiny monotonous little lines. That is if you want a fairly intricate design. I do fairly intricate designs, which is why they're usually very, very tiny little lines, and the finished product isn't usually that great, but it is very intricate and a little bit probably difficult to do sometimes for some people. But the reason that I'm okay-ish with it is because I do a lot of canvas painting. But I will also say that this is completely totally different than canvas painting altogether. There we go. And that is another one. We're also going to lengthen this here upwards some so that we can add another slightly larger rose up there. Put this up. Create a cute little rose hip area in here. As well as here. Alrighty. Okay. I'll be right back. I really gotta use the bathroom. Just gonna set that upward like that. Yeah. I just assumed that I missed it too. I was focused on painting. Alrighty. Hey, buddy. Hi, buddy. My Dunkaroo came in. Okay. So, next thing is next. our extra light yellow. Now this one I kind of want to make fully in bloom. So we'll make it about this tall, this high up. Yeah, we'll make that some sort of a stem or a leaf coming out from behind it or something. I have no qualms or quarrels about it. Now, like I say, the best part about doing plants is it doesn't have to be perfect. You can utilize the imperfection to make perfection. Because there's nothing perfectly shaped about plants. They're all different. They grow differently at different angles. The best part about painting plants is that you can find all of the perfections within all of the imperfections. At least that's how I like to think of it. Not exactly sure how spot on I am. Yeah. Of course, there would be a paint chunk. You know what? We'll just squish it in. Hope for the best. There we go. Work the paint clumps into the fabric and make it a part of the flower. Take our cute little green dot and work that in too, because this is going to be the slightly darker base of the rest of our flower that we're going to need to have a little bit of an eye-catching quality, which is where green comes in. Green is one of those colors that naturally attracts the human eye because we can perceive so many different shades of it. Nessa, stop whining while you lick your hoo-ha. It's gross. My dog's gross. Okay, we've got that part done. This is the one part of the fabric painting where I am going to be purposefully mixing our beautiful colored muds we call paint here, just specifically to get a different shade on the background of the flower. Very seldom will I do this, but every once in a while you need to add a little bit of green to some yellow to make it more eye-catching when you add the lighter yellows over top of it. I feel like I'm adding way too much green, but that's okay because of the amount of different shades of yellow we're going to be adding on. Okay, we're just going to add a little bit more down here where we started this flower bud, and we're going to do the exact same thing up there. With this one here that we are going to start creating. This one I want a slightly open but not quite bloom instead of a bud. So we want about a half open bud bloom is what I'm going to go for with this one. It's going to be covering up the stem anyway. So we are going to be needing to add some green. Into the mix here either way. Alrighty. There we go. Create our cute little flower curve. Add a little bit of a rounded top up here. And we'll add in all of the detailing later. After the backing for this bud dries. There we go. Oh, the amount of noise that people have been making today is actually halfway's ridiculous. But I'm gonna pretend to ignore it because I'm the bigger person. And yes, it would be a lot easier to just pre-mix the greenish yellow, but that would be a lot less fun. Like, I want to do this in a way that's kind of artistically challenging, not. Oh, let's pre-mix it. I mean, that would be the smartest move, but I don't want to work smart. There we go. How's this doing? Aha, I can start adding more layers of lighter yellow into that one now. Just gonna set this over top of that so I can set my arm down. Okay. There we go. Can't let those two meet. While I get this cute little edge here done. Make sure I pull all of my brush strokes outward, away from the center of the flower, because if not, then the illusion will be broken. Okay. Oh, I have no idea why I'm like holding my breath doing this. Hmm. Hmm. Here we go. And slowly starting to come together here. Hey, Peter. There we go. Now, on to the next part. There we go. Haha. And next. Yeah, I'll make it this one. There we go. And up here. And next. Make sure that there's always a gap between the newest lighter line and the last one. That way there is always just a tiny bit from the last layer of paint exposed. Hey, honey. What do you think so far?
It's cute.
Come here. I want you to see the detail. This one is an almost finished one. This one is just getting, these ones are just getting started.
It's nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
I might take a break for a little bit and start back up on this later. I'm starting to get a little bit hungry.
I'm just having the hummus.
Okay. Is it yummy?
Yeah.
Good. Beautiful. Just here. Phew, now I'm actually going to take a little bit of a break from this for just a little while. Because, yeah. And where did I put... There's my coffee cup. I want some coffee. I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty. Oh, coffee. Yes. I will show you guys the detailing and stuff that we have got into there so far already. Not sure how well you can see it, but it's going rather well so far. This here is the bottom where we started at the hem, and we are going to keep adding details and stuff into this as it goes. Oh my land. This is actually going really well. It looks really nice. I didn't think that it was going to look this good. I might add just a little bit of an orange tint in there off and on to add a little bit of darkness for the spacing in between the petals. Oh, well, while that dries a little bit, I'm just going to scooch some of these paints and stuff out of the way here. Oh, this is going really well. We should go take a look at the flower garden after this. I should also get a little bit of brown mixed up for the thorns for our roses. Maybe, just maybe, add in a few more rosebuds or leaves or something. Probably both. There it is. Take our green. Our slightly darker green. And soak that into the fabric in between our lighter greens. Just very lightly spread the darker shade in between each line of the lighter shade. As we go and continue working, it'll slowly come to life. What's up, Senor Donk? He has earned the Senor and Senor Donk. He is 17. 17 years old, man. That's my boy. He has been my best friend forever, and as far as I know, he will be my best friend forever. The same as my Miss Nessa. Nessie, where her going? Where my beautiful baby going? As my daughter. My beautiful, gorgeous daughter. Who just happens to be a fluff bag as well. Yes, my kids. There we go. There's some more leafing added in. I wonder if I should put a little bit more. Yeah, I should add a little bit more shade in these ones, shouldn't I? Oh, this is just coming out beautifully. She's upset with me because I'm painting fabric instead of continually scratching her. She's telling on me.
Let's see, got food and water.
She just wants attention. She's telling on me.
Nessa, stop.
What are you growling at her for? It's okay, baby. I'll give you scratches here in a second. Mom's just working with wet paint. And we just keep layering it over, and as the fabric soaks in the color, it'll make everything stand out just a little bit better. And remember, this isn't like a gel fabric paint. You can't just slap it on there, wait for it to dry, and it'll be perfect. This is a slightly runnier acrylic based fabric paint with oil that will continually take work to add into to get your fabric stained to the degree that you want it. And it will all wash out nicely. Duncan. Duncan. Say no to butt chew. Duncan. Duncan. I'm gonna squeak your... Stop chewing your butt. I'm gonna get the cone of shame if you keep chewing your butt, mister. Don't look at me like that. I know, it sucks. Isn't it just awful being a dog? You can't chew the lump on your butt. So, my doggo Duncan is 17 years old and he has cancer. And he has this lump. He has a few different lumps, but one of them grew on his hindquarters. And he likes to chew on it, and he will continually chew on it until he creates this big scab and like busts it open in his mouth. It's gross. And I've gotten it to heal up a couple of times, but the thing is that he just keeps chewing it and breaking it open again. And there is nothing that I can do to stop him short of putting a cone on him. And he hates the cone. Therefore, we call it the cone of shame. Duncan! Stop butt chewing. I know, it's just awful being a dog, isn't it? Not even allowed to chew your butt. Okay, I know, I'm sorry. That doesn't mean do it. Alright, fine. Do what you want. I'm gonna get you a cone. Do. There we go. Pretty cool. This is actually going really well compared to how I thought it was going to. I thought that this was going to be like a disaster incarnate. I mean, it kind of is, but at the same time, I thought that this was going to go way worse. I say that, and then I'm going to have a huge mess up. I thought that it was going to go a lot worse specifically because I'm on camera. Duncan, stop. Duncan, stop it. That sounds gross. There we are. Now we're going to rinse this off for a lighter shade of green. Now the same as with the darker shade, we're just going to go in between each of the darker shades with the lighter shade of green, and we're just going to keep doing this for multiple layers until the leaf looks happily realistic. Or until we're fully happy with the shading that we have created. Hey, Hembun.
Okay.
There we go. And we just kind of keep on filling her in. The only thing is that there is no real aspect of we're just coloring, because we're not coloring. We're literally just building the picture itself with the colors. I'm gonna have to fix up the darker spots there where I got a little bit too much of the light green onto that spot. But that's okay. Because I knew I was gonna have to do that anyway. It's just a little bit annoying that it's now going to be a thickening mission instead of just a darkening mission. Here. It's coming around. Duncan, stop. Duncan. Duncan. That sounds gross. Stop. Duncan. Stop it. He keeps chewing his butt and it sounds disgusting. Duncan. 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 Stop that. You've created a sore on your hind end. Stop chewing it. Hey, honey.
Can we put this shirt on?
If you want to. Why?
To get him to stop going after the sore on his butt.
Oh, on him.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if that'll actually stop him. I want to put a cone on him.
Should I just go and grab a cone then?
It's fine. We'll try the t-shirt.
Well, I'm good with either one.
Well, I guess I'm going to put a t-shirt on my dog's butt. Why am I saying this to the camera? No one's even watching.
Oh, I'm having fun.
I just wish Duncan would stop with the butt licking, because I am certain that every person who tunes in is tuning directly back out because of that fucking noise. It sounds so nasty. Ew.
Sorry.
What is up with everything coming in here to make gross noises in my audio?
That one slipped out.
I've been holding a fart in for 2 hours.
Walk away.
At this point, my whole live stream every time is just going to be all nasty noises all the time. Uh, Duncan, I'm going to put a t-shirt on your butt. Duncan, stop that. Where even was I painting? That's better. Peace. Duncan, don't start. Duncan, don't start. Okay, I think that I'm gonna take a break for a little bit. And get the paint washed off of my hands and leave this alone to dry, and we will come back in a little while when this is dried up a bit and finish this up. Alrighty.